Good day. Today I'm going to talk about a nonfiction book and a period in American history. The first one I'm going to talk about is Lillian's Right to Vote. This is a poetic kind of history of Lillian's life. She always wanted to vote. And of course, when she was born, because she's almost 100 years old, she did not have the right to vote. So Jonah Winter has illustrated, or not illustrated, but told this story as a fictional story of getting the right to vote. Now, the interesting thing about this, it is laid in Pittsburgh. If anybody knows Pittsburgh, they know that it is a rather hilly town. And it's actually based on a true story of somebody that Jonah Winter knew. You can see that she is climbing a hill in Pittsburgh. And that is the way that the story develops. Climbing the hill, getting the right to vote. It took her a long time. First of all, she was born as a slave. And then when she tried to vote, she had to know the laws of Mississippi. That was very difficult to know. And then there was the poll tax. And then there were all kinds of ways to keep her from voting. And of course, if you remember voting history, women in the beginning of the Constitution were not allowed to vote. It was only white property-owning men. And then the women finally got the right to vote. But Lillian didn't. Now she's reached the top of her hill. She wants to vote. And here you have the wonderful picture of her reaching to vote. We don't seem to vote that way anymore. We went through paper ballots and now we're back to paper ballots. But here she is voting for the president. And now she's going down the hill. You'll see that in this picture, which is on the end papers of this book, it is nighttime to illustrate the length of time that it took Lillian to get the vote. Use that with the biography Voice of Freedom by Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou was a fighter for civil rights in the 1960s. She too was born in a slave family. She married a sharecropper, but she became involved in the civil rights movement. And this book, though it's not in poetic form, the illustrations are marvelous, showing what she had to fight against in order to get the right to vote. Here she is in one of her final meetings with the people of SNCC. You might also use this book with Revolution by Deborah Wiles. That is the book where Deborah talks about her sister working in the 1960s in the South. I can attest that her story is probably very accurate because the story that she wrote before that, which was laid in Maryland, right across the river, was very accurate for the times when we hid under the desks and afraid of the atomic bomb. You might also want to use March, the graphic novel by the Congressman Lewis, writing about his experiences in the 60s. This would be wonderful for next year when we have elections. Had we talked about it before, it would have been interesting to use it just the other day when we were voting locally. Whatever, they are certainly worth sharing with children of all ages when it becomes time to vote again, and to show how difficult it was to get the right to vote. Thank you for listening.